J.J. Watt. Pass is caught. Diggs! Side the hole! He broke his ankles. Lightning strike from McCaffrey.
We're having fun. We get to have fun here. This is what it's all about.
Episode 37 is here. You're listening to it. You're watching it. Whether you're on Spotify, whether on YouTube, welcome into the show. Welcome in to the Swank Tank. Episode 37. It is Thursday morning, January 29th. The Super Bowl is just 10 days away now. New England and Seattle. We are so close. So close. I'm your host, Ryan Swank. Welcome in to the show. Welcome in to the Swank Tank. You're probably thinking we have, like I just mentioned, 10 days. 10 days to go until the Super Bowl. We already recapped the NFC and AFC championship games earlier in the week. If you have not seen that video, go ahead and do so. Go tap in on the channel or go listen to the previous episode on Spotify. What are we talking about today? What are we talking about on this wonderful, beautiful Thursday morning? We are doing a full review and update of the head coaching carousel. We're reviewing all of it. There's been a lot of major hires, new head coaches in the league now with their new teams, maybe even staying with some of their teams. Joe Brady. We're going to dive into all of the new head coaches that have been hired. We're going to also dive into some other big-time coaching positions that have been filled on other teams across the league. So we're going to break all the hirings down. I will also grade them for you. Then we'll tap into some other major coaching hirings going on around the league. Full coaching carousel update and grading analysis for these hires. Welcome to the show. So glad you are here. Again, Thursday morning, January 29th, just 10 days away from the big-time game from the bowl. But my God, has this coaching carousel been insane. Almost a third of the teams going into 2026 will have a new head coach. Some of these teams still don't have their head coach. Majority now do, some still don't. Let's dive into all of the new head coaches, all the hires, and some even DC, OC hires I've loved. All the good coaching carousel news you want to hear and you need to be updated on is live now on this episode. Let's do it. About a week or two ago, I did a quick update on, at that time's current coaching carousel, who had been hired. There have been a few big hires, and I graded them. We're going to scratch that out. If you listen to that, we're going to do a full grading of what we now have so far. A lot more hires, a lot more moves across the league, and we're going to start in Atlanta. Head coach newly, of course, all these head coaches are now new, newly acquired head coach Kevin Stefanski, along with offensive coordinator Tommy Rees. What is my grading of these hires? I'm going to give it a flat-out A, not an A+, not an A-. To me, first grading for the head coaches and the OC position as well on this show, on this episode, we're going to give it an A for the Atlanta Falcons with Stefanski and Tommy Rees as offensive coordinator. Stefanski, 45-56 record in 6 years with Cleveland. He led Cleveland back to the playoffs, even got a playoff win, went 1-2 total in his playoff career in Cleveland. He had 2 Coach of the Year awards. Look, everybody knows the deal here. Kevin Stefanski is a phenomenal coach. It was just time for a culture change, time for a change of scenery. In all honesty, Cleveland wasn't doing him any favors. Let's be real. What was he working with here? And, he's not some defensive guru, but he's more, I would say, a defensive-minded coach, of course, than he is offensive. That's, I believe, where most of his history is, if I'm not mistaken. Stefanski needed to get out of Cleveland. And this is an A hiring to me. Let's stick here purely with Stefanski, then we'll get into Rees. It's an A hiring for me because you see the caliber of not only coach he is, but leader he is, person he is. That's a guy who you want to represent your franchise. He's going to a franchise now that has seemingly not been able to put the proper pieces together for several years. Along with this, they hired Matt Ryan, the legend, the Iceman, the original Iceman. Call him Icy Matt. Matt Ryan, Matty Ice, I should say. He's now the president of the Atlanta Falcons. So you get Matt Ryan, you get Kevin Stefanski, you get Tommy Rees. I'm grading this an A, especially with Stefanski, because that's a guy you want leading your team. I mean, he's experienced. Atlanta, like I just said, they haven't been able to put all of their talent together in several years. It's now felt like Kirk Cousins staying as backup and whatnot and starter for a little bit didn't work out. But that team is so unbelievably talented. They had a great draft class last year. And offensively, you know what they can do with Kyle Pitts if he returns. Drake London, Bijan Robinson. I mean, the weapons they have a plethora of them, I should say. Putting all the pieces together is what Kevin Stefanski can do in this situation. He turned Cleveland, the laughingstock of the NFL of the past decade, into a playoff team, into a competing team. He took Joe Flacco to the playoffs, not the other way around. He took old Joe to the playoffs. He won a playoff game in Cleveland. And this year, obviously, they were not very good whatsoever, but look at that roster. He hasn't had any help. So I'm a big believer in Stefanski in all aspects. I think this is an A hire here. I will give it an A+, but now we're going to talk about Tommy Rees, why it makes it an accumulative A. So love the Stefanski hire. One of my favorite hires of any coaching hire in the league, outside of head coaches too. Tommy Rees, let's touch on him. First year OC last season with the Browns. So he comes with Kevin Stefanski. He spent time at Alabama, spent time at Notre Dame, had success at both of those stops. Again, first year play caller last year in Cleveland. Didn't go great, but you can see a little bit of his, schematics in Cleveland. Quinshon Judkins, as a rookie, had a really strong year. He liked to utilize Harold Fannin, the rookie, Njoku when he was healthy. I mean, let's be real here. Their wide receiver one was Jerry Jeudy. You can't do squat with Jerry Jeudy being your wide receiver one. But you can kind of see the Tommy Rees game plan, the Tommy Rees system. And if you translate that from Cleveland in 2025 to Atlanta in 2026, it feels like there can be a good amount of success. Upgrading to Kyle Pitts, if you want to call it that. A massive, one of the biggest upgrades to Bijan Robinson. And to a team with a lot more firepower. Michael Penix Jr., obviously still a project. But maybe Tommy Rees can turn that around. I mean, he has collegiate experience with big-time programs like Notre Dame, like Alabama. I mean, he's been involved in several, let's say, processes of not only players, but quarterbacks. I mean, his entire career he's worked offensively. And in college, that's part of the offensive coordinator job, is to build these young, talented players into professional-ready athletes. And Tommy Rees, he has some experience now, only 1 year under the belt NFL-wise as an OC, but he has experience with Stefanski. He has now a year under his belt. I'm not going to say Tommy Rees is the home run hire, but it's not one that, I'm necessarily worried about. Too worried about. I think it's probably an upgrade from Zach Robinson, wouldn't you? So a cumulative, gotta be an A to me. Browns, yes, last year offensively they struggled a bit. Look at what they had as weapons. Tommy Rees, still younger in the NFL. Overall, give it an A. Stefanski's an A+, one of the best hires of any coach in this coaching carousel. Tommy Rees, I believe in. I think he can do some really good things with that roster. I really do. That is the Atlanta Falcons. We move on. We go over to the AFC, but we're sticking here with the Birds. The Ravens have found their new head coach, Jesse Minter, from the Chargers. This grade is a flat-out A as well. Grading it an A. Minter, he was DC for the Chargers for 2 seasons. He had a top 10 unit in 2024 and a top 10 unit in 2025 when you look across the board at all the statistics. 2024 was an absolute revival for the Chargers defense. They ranked top 10 in like almost every category, led by a strong secondary. That's what, Jesse Minter's kind of brought to the table in his 2 years with the Chargers, is a really elite secondary. Yes, they had Derwin James. Yes, they have, other guys back there that can make some plays, but he kind of transformed that unit. The defense as a whole, yes, but he kind of transformed that unit into one of the best passing defenses and the best secondaries in the NFL in both 2025 and 2024. He uses a lot of zone schemes, a lot of split safety. And when you now envision him with the Ravens, again, he's a very, very defensive-minded guy. Obviously, his experience is DC. He helped revive the Chargers defense the past 2 years. So whoever, they either retain or bring in as DC, I actually am blanking on who they have over there currently as DC, he will be leading the defense. Think of it like a D'Amico Ryans, like a Robert Saleh, right? He's going to lead the defense as he should. That defense on paper was supposed to be top 5 last year, led by Kyle Hamilton, led by Marlon Humphrey, led by Matabuke, who missed basically all of last season. I mean, he's going to transform this defense from what it looked like on paper in 2025 to what it should be in real life in 2026. He is going to exponentially level up that defense. I mean, I just named a few of those weapons on defense. They're pretty loaded up. And I wouldn't be surprised if they used a draft to go and maybe get another DB, another probably linebacker maybe. I mean, they have, some veterans at the linebacker position, can always upgrade D-line. They're going to need, a wide receiver. That's later on offseason talk. They're definitely going to need a wide receiver. But they're also going to need some defensive pieces. Jesse Minter is here to put the pieces together defensively that really got broken last season. That running defense was one of the worst in the NFL for a long stretch of the 2025 season. So he uses zone, he uses split safety. Imagine the weapons, imagine the effect he will have using that scheme in Baltimore with those weapons, I should say. Hamilton, Marlon Humphrey, Nate Wiggins. I mean, these are talented guys back there in that secondary. Huge upgrade for the defense. And look, I mean, it's hard to say if it's an upgrade as a head coach overall. Harbaugh, 18 years in Baltimore, obviously did some amazing things, won the division several times, won a Super Bowl. I mean, he was fantastic. But apparently in Baltimore, it felt like it was time to move on. And you bring in one of my favorite hires of the cycle. Love Jesse Minter. Love what he brings to the table. This defense should be turned around fast. The running defense still might be a slight issue. This year, the Chargers' running defense gave up, I believe they were bottom 5 in yards per carry allowed. Still has some holes in the defense. But overall, I really am a big fan of this hire. Jesse Minter heading to Baltimore to be their head coach. I'm giving it an A as a grade. Really appreciate you tuning in as always, whether you're watching on YouTube, listening on Spotify. Appreciate you. Really, I say this every time, but it's very true, more than you know. Please make sure you're going and following on all these socials at the Swank Tank. We got a huge Super Bowl episode coming out next Thursday morning, breaking it all down very in depth. Don't want to miss it. Then in the offseason, we're doing episodes every Thursday morning still. Every week, every Thursday morning, keeping you up to date with the biggest offseason news, topics, trends, all that good stuff. Free agency, the draft. I mean, we got so much coming up in the NFL offseason. There's no offseason here at the Swank Tank. Trying to hire a YouTube producer. If you are interested, you know anybody that's interested, let me know. Hit the DMs. They're always open. We're close to 1,000 followers on Instagram. Go make sure you are following on all the socials at the Swank Tank. And if you are out there listening to us, watching, getting worked up, I'm excited about this opening here. I'm hiring a YouTube producer. If you're interested, hit me up. Let me know. We keep rolling here in this big coaching carousel episode. The Buffalo Bills. Head coach Joe Brady. There you have it. There's your new guy, Buffalo. What are your thoughts, Buffalo Bills fans? Let me know. Go DM me. Go comment on whatever post. Let me know. Go comment on the Spotify episode. Let me know, Bills fans, what you think of this hiring of Joe Brady. It's a promotion. Not necessarily, I mean, it is a hiring, but it's more of a promotion. Joe Brady being promoted from offensive coordinator to head coach of the Buffalo Bills. My grade for this is a flat-out B. Not a B+, not a B-. It's a B. Because there's a little bit of haze kind of surrounding this hiring. Brady, full-time offensive coordinator the last 2 seasons. I mean, he's been in Buffalo longer than that, but the last 2 years has been the full-time offensive coordinator. And look, his numbers are for real. They're legit. He's at a top 5 scoring offense in both of the last 2 seasons. So in his 2 years as full-time OC, he's at a top 5 scoring offense in both. He had the best running game in 2025. The Bills averaged the most rush yards per game in 2025. James Cook was a top 3 back in 2025. Josh Allen was the most elite mobile quarterback in 2025. I mean, there's a lot of stats I can throw at you to say, oh my God, how is this not a home run hire? Why are you only rating this a flat out B as in hiring? Very fair, but I don't love this hire and I don't necessarily hate this hire. Let me ask you, is this an upgrade from McDermott? I need a yes or no. I don't want like, maybe this, I don't know. Yes or no, is this an upgrade? Is this an upgrade? To me, if I had to pick a yes or no, I would lean more on the no. It's not. It's a change of scenery. If you consider a change of scenery being an upgrade in itself, more power to you. It's an upgrade. Logistically, experience-wise, leadership-wise, is it an upgrade? We won't fully know, obviously, until the season starts and it ends in 2026, 2027. But right now, it doesn't feel like this is a full upgrade to me. It doesn't. And I understand how good of an offensive mind he is. But I don't love it and I don't hate it because I thought the Bills would go in a little bit of a different direction. And by that, I mean hiring somebody from the outside, not promoting from within. They needed a change because McDermott could never get them even to the finish line, not crossing it. That would be winning a Super Bowl. He couldn't even get them to the Super Bowl. He made it to the AFC Championship twice, lost them at home twice. I mean, that's just tough. It's the way of the water when you're going up against one of the best quarterbacks already of all time. But he couldn't even get to the finish line. Never even crossed it, of course, because he never won the Super Bowl, but he never made it to the Super Bowl. So the Bills were tired of complacency, and I can't blame them. Usually when you're firing due to complacency, the answer is not within your own organization. The Bills have now found that to not be the case, obviously hiring Joe Brady here. And we talked 2 weeks ago about this head coaching cycle being very thin, even before McDermott got fired, saying teams will have to reach, teams will have to stretch to try to find their guy. Joe Brady is a familiar guy, obviously being with the Bills for several years. He's worked very close hand in hand with Josh Allen. Josh Allen was very involved of the hiring of Joe Brady, very involved in the entire head coaching process for the Buffalo Bills. So I have no other reason to believe that Josh Allen was definitely involved in this hiring. He was. He probably had a major voice in this hiring. Maybe that turns out to be a great thing. Maybe that turns out to be a really bad thing. To me, I thought the Bills would look for an external hire, more of a culture-changing guy. Because when you're so close to getting to the finish line and maybe even crossing it, which is winning a Super Bowl, right? Typically, a major factor in that is culture, right? Clutchness that goes along with culture, belief, the buy-in. Usually that's not already in your organization. So again, I don't hate the hire. I don't love the hire. He's obviously very experienced offensively. Defensively, the Bills, the rushing unit was like bottom 5 this year. Their defense worries me. It worries me a little bit. McDermott was supposed to be kind of that defensive guy. Wasn't really it. Joe Brady obviously comes in and now is the offensive master and offensive guru. We'll see. Now their DC has left, so now they have a DC void to fill as well. Who will fill that role? Offensive coordinator now. I mean, it's going to be Joe Brady's offense, but offensive coordinator, who's going to fill that role? So they have offensive coordinator, and sorry guys, my light keeps dimming. They have offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator to still fill. We will see over the coming weeks who they fill that with. Defensive coordinator, there's not a lot of like instant names that come to mind. I mean, maybe Raheem Morris. I'll tell you what, if the Bills go and hire Raheem Morris, I'm totally good with the Joe Brady hire. 100%. Because defensively, their Buffalo Bills this season, their secondary was very, very good. Their rushing defense was bottom 5. Maybe bottom 10, but around bottom 5 in the league. So if I'm the Bills, I mean, live on this show, I just thought of what if Raheem Morris joins the Bills as the DC? Love it. Joe Brady, Raheem Morris? I'd love that. I really would. So I'm giving it a B for now because I thought they'd hire externally, which brings up a little bit of concern. But he's got experience with Buffalo. He's obviously a great offensive mind. Josh Allen and him, a little kumbaya action. Maybe scoring 40 a game, but how much are they giving up on the side? So backfilling the offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator roles. We'll see how that goes for them. Overall, giving the Joe Brady hire a flat-out B. Speaking of B, we move to the Cleveland Browns. The Browns, they hire Todd Monken to be their next head coach from Baltimore. He was the offensive coordinator in Baltimore for 3 years with the Ravens. Grading, I'm going to give this a B-. So the lowest one so far in the episode, Todd Monken to Baltimore, I'm giving this a B-. Again, he spent 3 years with the Ravens. Let's go over some of his stats as OC with the Ravens. In the 24-25 season, so not the one we just had, the one before it, they were the first team in NFL history to score 40 passing touchdowns and 20 rushing touchdowns in the same season. First team ever to do that 2 years ago. Also the first team ever to throw for at least 4,000 yards and rush for at least 3,000 yards. Again, that was in the 24-25 season, so that was 2 years ago. Todd Monken's offense, was generational that season, 2 years ago. It broke all sorts of records. It was like the best Ravens offense of all time, of course. It was just insane how successful he was as OC. Now we look back at the season we just had. They had an elite rushing offense. They had the second most rushing yards in the NFL across the board. But the passing game took a huge step back, right? My inclination is to put part of that blame on Todd Monken. People like to speculate and say, Lamar Jackson wasn't fully healthy. Okay. Yeah, he missed, 4 games, whatever it was? His poor performance, Lamar Jackson, let me take a step back and make sure I state this correctly. Lamar Jackson had a very poor 2025/2026 season. Some people like to blame some of that on injury. He missed 4 games. Okay. Even if he was slightly injured, I would expect him to play better than how he did. He was a almost non-factor in rushing the football. That's who Lamar Jackson is. He is as dual threat as it gets through the air on the ground. In 25-26, he really took a step back, especially on the ground. And you saw some of the flaws come out. Hesitant a little bit to run. Not as accurate in the passing game. Todd Monken's offense in 25-26 took a bit of a step back. It wasn't like the worst thing ever. The rushing offense was really, really good. But the passing game wasn't really there. And Lamar wasn't fully there in this previous season. Current defensive coordinator for the Browns, Jim Schwartz, is expected now to step down and leave. So he's expected to leave. So now you got the defensive coordinator spot to fill. Defensive hiring here is huge. Huge. I'm giving this a B- higher for the Browns because, Monken, he has obviously several years at an offensive coordinator position, in division guy, going from Baltimore to Cleveland. Browns are very familiar with him. But, look at the weapons he had in Baltimore. That's not to say that the weapons, masked his inability to be a good offensive coordinator. No, they go hand in hand. He's a great offensive coordinator. The offense is great. His weapons are great. He's a great offensive coordinator, right? They go hand in hand with each other. But, it's a downgrade in every aspect. Offensive line, tight end, running back. Obviously, like the biggest drop-off in quarterback you could have. So, offensively, I think it's going to, he's going to try to revive this Browns offense that hasn't really had life since Baker Mayfield, or really since Joe Flacco led him to the playoffs 3 years ago. It needs a full revamp. You have some pieces in Judkins. Let's see if he comes back fully healthy. Hopefully he does. And guys like Harold Fannin, you are missing a wide receiver 1. You're missing a wide receiver 2. You're missing pieces on the O-line. You're missing the quarterback. Oh, never mind. They have the Pro Bowler. They have the Pro Bowler. What do you make of that? Why am I over here, being cautious about Todd Monken taking this job, seeing if he can turn around the Browns offense when they have a Pro Bowl quarterback in Cleveland? He threw 7 touchdowns last year. Don't ask me how many interceptions. The Pro Bowl continues to dig themselves deeper and deeper, the voters into a hole, along with the Hall of Fame voters. Bill Belichick snubbed. Can you believe that? In the 25-26 voting, Bill Belichick snubbed as a first ballot Hall of Famer. We're getting off track here. All this to say, the defensive coordinator hiring for Todd Monken and the Cleveland Browns will speak volumes to how well Monken does in Cleveland. His sole focus will be on the offense and turning what he hopes to be Shedeur Sanders what he is, the Pro Bowler, into some elite player. I doubt it. I do not believe in Shedeur Sanders. I don't think they have the answer at quarterback at all. I think they have the answer at running back. They have the answer at tight end. They have the answer at defensive end. They have the answer at middle linebacker. That's about it. At linebacker, I mean, Monken's got his hands full. Defensive coordinator matters a lot here. Overall, I'll give this a B-. Because Monken, again, great offensive mind, doesn't have the weapons. Defense coordinator is unnamed at the moment, which plays into that grading. B-. We keep rolling. All right, this one's going to be a little bit quicker, but still equally as important as all the others. Dolphins hired Jeff Hafley as head coach from the Green Bay Packers, grading this a B+. A B+. I wasn't so sure about this till I did my research and I did my homework, and I believe more in him now than I did last week. Hafley, 2 years as the Packers defensive coordinator. In 2024, the Packers had a top 5 unit defensively across the board. In 2025, still solid, but took a big step back in terms of sacks and in terms of takeaways. Obviously, when you lose a guy like Michael Parsons, a little over halfway through the season, those numbers are bound to regress. Still a good unit, not a great unit. What his main focus has been, what his big producer has been, is the secondary. The secondary has been really, really solid in his 2 years in Green Bay, in both those seasons. And you can tell in his opening presser. I wish I could play that video. I'm sure it's, copyright, can't really play it. Go look up Jeff Hafley's opening presser. He's got some aura to him. He's got a little bit of swagger to him. He's got some personality to him, which I like. It's a different personality than McDaniel's. McDaniel's kind of had this, I'm too smart, I'm this guru, I'm different than anybody type of personality. Hafley seems more of like the kind of like realistic, somewhat jokester type of guy. Hard to describe, but very different personality, very different characteristics than McDaniel's, than what he had. I like this hire. I mean, I'm giving it a B+ because, let's be real here, the Dolphins are an absolute train wreck. They're a train wreck. And I'm also giving it a B+, not in the A category, because Hafley at times has really struggled under pressure. Football is a team game. When you make the playoffs, it's a team game. But in his 2 years with Green Bay, they went 0-2 in the playoffs, and he had a few moments where he really, really dropped the ball. And by him, I mean his defense dropped the ball. I mean, against the Bears in the playoffs this year, dropped the ball. Against the Bears earlier in this past season, dropped the ball. Against Philadelphia last year in the playoffs, did okay, didn't do great. So in the big moments, you haven't been able to see Jeff Hafley fully succeed, but consistently, he's had really good, solid units back-to-back years. He's got some personality, which I like. And let's be fully honest. We touched on it just slightly 2 seconds ago. The Dolphins are a train wreck. Train wreck. Defensively, up front, they're horrendous. Linebacker, they're horrendous. Secondary actually wasn't as bad as one may believe. Their secondary coach, I believe, just got hired by the Jets to be their new DC. So, got to backfill that position now. The Dolphins are awful. They're awful. They have no answer at quarterback, and they're paying him way too much money. Tyreek Hill, you got no idea what the hell's going on with him. Obviously, gruesome injury last year. Will he return? Mike McDaniels leaves, so where's the offensive mind? Oh, it's now Bobby Slowick, by the way. Bobby Slowick hired as offensive coordinator. Don't like it. Do not like it. You know me, I'm a Texans fan. I can attest that Bobby Slowick at times has been able to create some magic and some big-time plays consistently. A lot of questions about him. So questions at OC with Bobby Slowick now. Questions on the offense all over the place outside of A-Chain. And defensively, up front especially, are very, very bad. Very bad. Jeff Hafley has his hands full. I like the hire from Miami, though. Give me a B+ grading for Jeff Hafley. We now move into a hire that is my favorite of any single coaching hire in this cycle. In this big old carousel going round and round, people joining and leaving. John Harbaugh to the Giants as their head coach. This was about a week or two ago, grading A+. A+ hire. The best hire any team could have had. He lands with the Giants, A+. We all know why, but let's get into it a little bit. Harbaugh, 18 seasons with Baltimore, 180 to 113 win-loss in the regular season, 13-11 in the playoffs, a Super Bowl 47 champion. I mean, I don't need to go, deep into the weeds with these stats. It is fun to look at his success in Baltimore, Super Bowl champion, John Harbaugh, but you know what you're getting from him. The New York Giants needed this so bad. Swank, what do you mean they needed this? What did they need? They needed a coach with veteran experience. So bad. They've needed it for several years now, but where they are as a team, as a roster, they need John Harbaugh more than ever. With a young guy like Jackson Dart, with a young guy like Cam Scatterbo, with a young guy in Malik Neighbors, with some younger-ish guys like Brian Burns and some other defensive pieces over there. John Harbaugh is a bona fide leader of men. He is a bona fide Super Bowl champion. He is the best hire any team could have had this cycle. He goes to New York. It's an A+ hire. I can't overstate this. It's an A+ hire. I'm really excited to see what he can do in New York to try to turn that Giants team around because they have a lot of the skill positions figured out. Again, Dart, etc. The skill positions over there are filled out. Offensive line, need some improvement, but you have some core pieces. You have the quarterback, you have the running back, you have the wide receiver, you have the tight end. I mean, offensively, the core is there. It's there. Now you got to build the trenches. And by that, I mean defensively, not just getting after the quarterback. Stopping the run. Secondary needs a lot of work too. Don't get me wrong. But the major skill positions are there for Harbaugh. It's not a complete rebuild. It's just accumulating the positions of need now. Not going, oh my God, we need quarterback, running back, tight end. No. It's there. It's there. And again, they needed a coach with experience. Not Brian Daboll, not Joe Judge, not McAdoo, not Pat Shurmur. They get a guy with playoff experience, Super Bowl experience. He is the experienced guy. Like, that is who he is. 18 years with the Ravens. It speaks for itself. Really excited about this hire for the New York Giants in John Harbaugh. Defensive coordinator, they hired Denard, I believe it's Denard or Denard Wilson. They hired Wilson as DC. He was the defensive coordinator for the Titans the last 2 seasons. And Wilson worked with Harbaugh in the 2023 season in Baltimore. I like this hiring too. A lot of people maybe don't know a lot about Wilson, who was the DC in Tennessee the past 2 years, but he was fantastic in yards per game in 2024. Scoring defense, very, very different. I'll just say that than their yards, their defense in terms of yards given up, but you could see that there's a lot of potential there. And let's be real, that Tennessee unit was near the Dolphins in how bad they were. How bad. Outside of Jeffrey Simmons, how many players can you name on the Titans defense from 2025? I bet you it's probably less than 3 total, including Simmons. A lot of people can't name a lot of the Titan starters on defense. And that speaks volumes because now you're going to a team like the Giants. Yeah, their secondary is still pretty weak. But, I mean, up front, at least you got guys like Brian Burns and Dexter Lawrence and, other guys, other pieces that can at least get after the quarterback. So, Wilson, he's been accredited to helping Jeffrey Simmons continue to be one of the best defensive linemen in the NFL. In 2024, he was, pretty good, honestly, given the cards he had to play in yards per game, in things in that aspect. Scoring's been an issue, but change of scenery with a coach he's worked with before, I like it a lot. Overall, A+ across the board for the New York Giants. I'm excited to see what they can do in 2026. It's going to be freaking awesome and fun to watch. Very, very fun to watch. Again, I appreciate you all tuning in, whether you're listening or watching. Thank you very much. Make sure to go follow at the Swank Tank on all these socials. Hope you're enjoying this coaching carousel episode. We got two more major head coaching hires to break down. Again, it is Thursday morning, January 29th. Appreciate you being here. Again, if it's Thursday afternoon, Thursday night, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, whenever you're watching or listening, really appreciate it so much. The Pittsburgh Steelers hire Mike McCarthy as their head coach. This is my lowest grading of any head coaching hire so far. I give it a C+. Give this hiring a C+ for the Pittsburgh Steelers. McCarthy, I'll give you a few numbers, a few stats, and then we're going to just purely go straight into it. 18 active seasons in the NFL as head coach, majority with the Packers, 5 years with the Cowboys. He is the Super Bowl 45 champion with Green Bay. He's definitely more of an offensive mind. He's kind of led the offense with his time in Green Bay, with his time in Dallas, was really kind of the offensive coordinator as well, wore those hats. A lot of winning historically in the regular season, and he's obviously a Super Bowl champion. The downfall with McCarthy, and if you follow the league closely, or even relatively closely, you understand he hasn't been able to take the next step in the playoffs ever since that Super Bowl back in Super Bowl 45. Especially in Dallas. He went 1-3 in the playoffs with very talented rosters, including Dak Prescott, and you get it. We don't have to go over exactly who Dallas had on their rosters during, McCarthy's tenure. I can't say tenure, just stretch with Dallas. So, 18 seasons in the NFL as head coach, Green Bay, Dallas, won a Super Bowl with Green Bay, but since then has struggled in the playoffs, really getting back to his former form, I should say. Now hired by the Pittsburgh Steelers to be their head coach after the the stepping down of Mike Tomlin. He was going to get fired. We all know that. Here's the deal. I'm giving this a C+. Lowest of any hiring that's happened so far for head coaches. And the weird thing is, I'm kind of rooting for him. There's been a lot of hate, really rough things said about the hiring. And look, I'm grading this a C+ because logistically, it's not good. I don't understand what the Pittsburgh Steelers are trying to do with this hire. When Mike Tomlin steps down, you were going to fire him. When Mike Tomlin steps down after, 19 seasons, never having a losing record in that time frame, 18 or 19 seasons, whatever it was, where they are as a roster, where they are as a team, where they are within their culture, you would expect them to take a chance, especially in this head coaching cycle, on a younger guy, maybe with more energy, maybe with a different way of doing things. I mean, this Steelers team is full of unks. Let's be real. They're one of the oldest teams in the NFL in terms of age on their current roster. With how they're formed, with Tomlin being there for so long and never being able to fully get to the finish line, in the past several years, you'd expect them to take more of a chance, more of a risk, more of the young guy hire, more of the different-minded coach. Instead of hitting the reset button and kind of, quote, starting over, you hire a guy like Mike McCarthy that feels like almost a Tomlin-esque hire in the sense of, yeah, he's had a lot of success in winning, but recently can't get or cross the finish line, right? That's what it feels like with this hire. So it's confusing in the sense that we thought the Steelers now would kind of, quote, start over. They're not. They're kind of sitting now in the same place they were last year and the year before and the kind of the year before. Like, it doesn't feel like this hire was made to get them to cross the finish line. It was made almost for like a temporary placeholder. When Tomlin said, I'm done, I'm out, we all expected the Steelers to kind of start over. That has not happened seemingly with this hire. Aaron Rodgers will stay, I'm assuming now. He obviously has a lot of experience with McCarthy when their time in Green Bay. He's probably going to stay. So not only are you hiring a coach that's had a lot of trouble in the playoffs, especially as of late, and again, you want the guy to push you across to that next level, you now bring back Aaron Rodgers, who personally I think it's time to hang up the cleats. You bring him back. So now you got all these questions circling again. Like, are we really trying to win? What does our future look like? Can you envision Mike McCarthy as the Steelers head coach 3 years from now? No. So given the current situation, given their outlook, given their roster, given how I thought they would go about their new head coach hiring, I'm grading this a C+. I'm honestly rooting for him because he's got a lot of doubters. So I'm hoping he somehow, pulls the rabbit out of the hat and can lead Pittsburgh deep into the playoffs. I don't think that's happening though, but I'd like to see it. So I'm grading this a C+ for Pittsburgh and for Mike McCarthy. We move on to the last head coaching hiring so far. The Tennessee Titans hire Robert Saleh as head coach. They also hire Brian Daboll as offensive coordinator. I am grading this A+. I am absolutely grading this an A+. So we have 2 A+ in terms of coaching staffs hiring, mainly head coach hirings, but it also involves the DCs, the OCs, and whatnot. Their new hirings. This is an A+. This is home run out of the park. Essentially the best possible situation for the Tennessee Titans. Let's start here with Saleh being named head coach. He had 3.5 years with the Jets as their head coach. Then he went back to San Fran this past year for 1 year to be their DC. In New York, his quarterbacks were Zach Wilson, Mike White, and 4 plays of Aaron Rodgers. He got the short end of the stick 100% when in terms of offensive production. I'm laughing about how bad the offense was and still is for the New York Jets. Look, his days with the Jets are now behind him. That was over 2 years ago. I feel like he's got to put that in the rearview mirror. He gave it a best shot. He had a few not great seasons by any means, but decent seasons with New York. Helped get Garrett Wilson and Sauce Gardner established. Overall, can definitely not call it a success, but I don't think it was quite as big as a failure on him as maybe one might believe. The Jets thing's in the rearview mirror, especially going back to San Francisco, kind of hitting the refresh, restart button. It's in the rearview mirror. And look, this is a high-energy guy, a high-intensity guy with a great defensive scheme. He is the defensive mind of all the teams he goes to now. And he held that 49ers defensive unit together this year. He was the duct tape. He was the cast for the broken body for the 49ers defense. I mean, you lose your best 2 defensive players, Fred Warner, Bosa, and he still leads that defense to the second round of the playoffs. He is a genius when it comes to the defensive side of the football. He gets another shot at being head coach. I like it. Again, he's not there for any means of offensive production, offensive scheme. No. This is as close to a D'Amico Ryans hire as it gets in terms of I'm here for defense. Offense will figure it out. And so I like the hire of Saleh because it's paired with Brian Daboll. And I thought Daboll would get a chance at being a head coach somewhere else. I think he was close. It's kind of like a Mike McDaniel situation where maybe 1 year in Tennessee, then gets another job offer in the next cycle. Could very much happen. Brian Daboll, to me, was the second best football mind out there to be hired in this cycle. Purely from mind, football knowledge, what you can see in that aspect, I think he was the second guy, probably behind Mike McDaniel offensively or behind John Harbaugh and Stefanski. Let me say that. But he's pretty close to up there with hires I liked for this cycle. And it's not even a head coach. It's a coordinator position with the Tennessee Titans. I mean, this is an elite hire. This is a great guy to go into Tennessee and help Cam Ward put the ghost of his rookie year past behind him and can now try to flourish in a new system with a veteran guy in Brian Daboll. So I think it's an elite hiring of Daboll. I like this 1-2 punch now with Saleh defensively, Daboll offensively. I think it's fantastic. Fantastic. They got a lot of work to do in terms of putting that roster together. Lots of work. You have the quarterback. You have the defensive tackle or D-end, however you want to kind of look at him. He's a D-tackle. That's it. Everything else can be upgraded. Almost everything. Wide receiver? Oh, yeah. Tight end? I mean, my boy Gunnar Helm. Oh, yeah. Running back, Pollard's been serviceable, pretty good, honestly. Can upgrade? Oh, yeah. Secondary, across the board. Upgrade. There's a lot of work that needs to be done. I would not be surprised if they are very aggressive come the offseason in the free agent market. Wouldn't be surprised in the slightest. I'm sure they got a lot of cap. Have to look into that more. But they will be. That's a fact. They will be aggressive in the offseason in free agent acquisitions, bolstering up that secondary to help out Jeffrey Simmons on the defensive line, and just across the entire defense. These hirings make me really, really excited. And so, look, Dable, he won Coach of the Year back in 2022 with the New York Giants as head coach. After the 2022 season, they made the playoffs and they obviously got bounced. He won 11 total games with the Giants after that 2022 season. But he's an elite offensive mind. And let's quickly look at his experience. So I love the hiring of Dable. I think it's an elite hiring. I can't overstate that. I love him going to Tennessee to be the OC. This is where he's coached. New England, defensive assistant 2000 to 2001. New England, 2002 to 2006, wide receivers coach. A lot of time in New England, in their prime, start of the prime for New England. New York Jets from 07 to 08, quarterbacks coach. Browns from 2009 to 2010, offensive coordinator. Dolphins, 2011, offensive coordinator. Kansas City Chiefs, 2012, offensive coordinator. New England Patriots, again, tight ends coach from 2013 to 2016. I mean, he was a major part to New England's Super Bowl runs and successes. A lot of experience in New England. He was a tight ends coach, like I just said, from 2013 to 2016 with New England. Alabama in 2017, offensive coordinator, quarterbacks coach for Bama in 2017. Buffalo Bills 2018 to 2021, offensive coordinator. Then New York Giants 2022 to 2025, head coach. Now 2026, he lands in Tennessee. You get the ultra experienced guy. You get the defensive-minded guy to lead the team and to turn around, personally, an organization I despise. But biases aside, you can tell I love the hirings. I absolutely love them. All right, that was my gradings of the head coaching hirings, new OC hirings, all accumulated together by letter grade. Let me know what you think. Let me know your thoughts. Comment on Spotify or the post on my socials. Let me know. Let me know what you think of those. And there are still a few teams without their head coach. Raiders still have not signed their head coach as of late Wednesday night, Thursday morning. Cardinals have also yet to name their head coach as this is recording. Again, I'm recording this very late Wednesday night, but it comes out Thursday morning. So Raiders and Cardinals still do not have their head coach for their future. Raiders names to be on the lookout for. Clint Kubiak. I think that's their home run hire they really want. The Seahawks offensive coordinator. Again, can't be interviewed. He's in the Super Bowl. We'll have to wait on that front, but I think the Raiders are going to acquire, really try to really try to push for Clint Kubiak when he becomes available. Davis Webb has also been mentioned, which is a crazy one. From Denver, their quarterback coach, being the head coach of the Raiders. I'd be amazed if that happened. I think they're all in on Clint Kubiak. They're waiting for him to be done with the Super Bowl. The Cardinals, Mike LaFleur had a long 2-day interview process with the Cardinals. He is the Rams offensive coordinator. He is younger brother of, obviously, Matt LaFleur in Green Bay. So Mike LaFleur, Rams OC, could be the next Cardinals head coach. Raheem Morris, like we mentioned earlier, is still out there, could be the Cardinals head coach. Vance Joseph, the Broncos DC, might be up for a head coaching job. McDermott is still out there from the Bills. So there's some options out there. If I'm being honest, for the Cardinals, not a lot of that's enticing. I love Clint Kubiak, which wherever Clint Kubiak goes, I'm all for. Love it, love it, love it. Outside of that, I'm a little worried about what's out there. By the way, Chris Shula, did you guys hear this news? So Mike LaFleur, Rams OC, has been interviewing for the Cardinals head coaching job. Chris Shula is the Rams DC. He supposedly, quote, bombed the Steelers head coaching interview, and then they hired McCarthy. Very interesting. Rams president came out and was like, what are you guys talking about? Like, some reporters were bashing Chris Shula about his interview with the Steelers. Interesting situation to keep an eye on because, again, there's still 2 head coaching openings right now in the NFL. Chris Shula has been interviewed for a few of them, or the ones that are now hired. Keep an eye and keep an ear out for the name Chris Shula, seeing what happens because he apparently bombed his interview and it's kind of blown up in the media. So keep an eye on that. He's a very talented guy as a Rams defense coordinator. I mean, we'll see if he lands anywhere. Other major coaching changes. You may be thinking, wow, I didn't know this guy went there. Or, oh my gosh, there's been so much of a coaching carousel going on. I didn't know this guy signed with this team. So here you go. Here you go. It's a nice little reminder for you to potentially start your morning, start your day on this Thursday morning. Chire, oh my gosh, what was that? What was that? You can tell it's the end of the episode. I'm getting a little loopy. I'm just kidding. Here we go. Chargers hire Mike McDaniel as offensive coordinator. Cowboys hire Christian Parker as their DC. Let me go back real quick. McDaniel as the OC needs no explanation for the Chargers. It's a home run. You love it. Herbert now is going to be elevated. That entire offense will be elevated fantasy-wise, real-life-wise. I mean, Mike McDaniel as an offensive coordinator, wherever he was going to go, was going to be the best offensive coordinator hire possible outside of Dable, to me, on this show at least. And the Chargers land him. Home run for the Chargers. Cowboys hire Christian Parker as DC. His experience was with the secondary. He was, I believe, the secondary's coach in Philadelphia. I like this hire. A little bit of an unknown hiring, kind of one unforeseen. I really like this hiring of Christian Parker. He's done a really good job in Philadelphia in his time there. It's more of a, project type of guy. You don't fully know what you're getting, but maybe can bring some younger, type of schemes and mindset to the table for Dallas. They needed a full kind of restart in that department. Love the hiring of Christian Parker in Dallas as their new defensive coordinator. Love that too. Lions hired Drew Petzing as offensive coordinator. That one, to me, honestly, more of a question mark. They were looking for more of a veteran guy in Detroit, a guy Dan Campbell can trust. So Dan Campbell can't be calling the plays. He knows that. Everybody knows that. His job needs to be the entire team, not having a majority of his job being spent in extra hours spent on the offense and play calling. He's not a play caller. He's a leader. He gets to go back to that role now with Petzing taking over the play calls. It's much, much needed. We'll see how he does. Packers hire former Cardinals head coach Jonathan Gannon as defensive coordinator. I like this hiring as well. Anytime you get a head coach to a coordinator job, coordinator role, it's hard to be fully against it before the season starts. I like this. Because Gannon obviously has a lot of experience coaching. Packers have a very strong unit over there led by Micah Parsons when he gets back healthy. They have weapons over there for him to work with. And again, when you go from such a high role as a head coach and then more to a coordinator role that's much more focused on that one job, right? The one hat rather than wearing 4 hats, things get a lot simpler. I like the hiring of Gannon. Again, all these we're going to have to see, right? Given their new system, their new structure, their new roster. 100%. But right now, I like that hiring. Chiefs hire Bieniemy back as offensive coordinator. I mean, the successes he's had there. He's back. Point and simple. Jets hire Brian Duker as defensive coordinator. He's from the Dolphins staff. I believe was their secondaries coach and passing game coordinator, if I'm not mistaken, defensively. Very interesting hire. Full honesty, don't have a full opinion on that. Dolphins defense, was really poor. Their secondary, I guess, was their, quote, bright spot. Don't love it for the Jets. But therefore, I don't think the Jets have the right guy head coach. I didn't think the Jets had the right head coach at the start of last season. They were 0-0, and I could have told you, I don't think Aaron Glenn should be a head coach. He is made to be a defensive coordinator. He's not made to be a head coach. I said that last year before he even started. Anyways, not liking what the Jets are doing at all. I do like the fact they have a lot more draft capital. Thought it was smart to send off some of their big-time players. Organizationally, I don't think they go anywhere until they get a new head coach. Just Aaron Glenn, to me, has got to go. He should have never been hired. Just being brutally honest. Buccaneers hired Zach Robinson as offensive coordinator. Commanders promoted David Blough to offensive coordinator. Blough or Blau? I always get that mixed up. Former quarterback to OC. Hired Durante Jones as DC from the Vikings. Like that move a lot. Was the Vikings, I believe, DB's coach, secondary's coach. Like that move a lot. As DC, the OC hire is a little bit more interesting. Like the Durante Jones DC hiring. I'm liking these DC hirings, people. Really am. Gannon, Durante Jones. Duker is the one question mark one for me. But I like Durante Jones. I like Jonathan Gannon. I like Christian Parker. I like those hirings. They're more of a, kind of a different approach. And I think I kind of like that and I respect that. So those are some guys that got hired at coordinator positions. We went over the main coaching updates, the coaching carousel. We graded them. And that is going to wrap up our episode. Thank you so much if you made it all the way through. We are now starting to just do Thursday morning episodes, once a week Thursday morning episodes. Next Thursday morning, you don't want to miss the Super Bowl special of the Swank Tank. And into the offseason, again, there is no offseason around here. We're not going anywhere. Episodes every single week, keeping you up to date. We're NFL only, 24/7, 365. That's what sets us apart. And we do not have an offseason. So it sets us apart as well, episode-wise, content-wise. Don't want to miss it. Enjoy your Thursday, your Friday, whenever you're watching or listening. Enjoy your weekend. Have a great rest of your day, and we will see you for our Super Bowl special next week. See you then.